So today I wanted to talk about a theory regarding how the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were created. This is not a new theory. This theory's been floating around for quite a while now. But I do have my own spin on it, especially regarding how I think Alan Grant was involved inadvertently and without his knowledge in the creation of these dinosaurs. So the theory goes that the idea that these animals that we see in the movie are actual dinosaurs is ridiculous because there's just no way that you could actually recreate dinosaurs in the way that John Hammond claims that he did. The biggest problem is the notion that you can take mosquitoes that have been preserved in amber and extract useful DNA from them. The half-life of DNA is 521 years. 500 years, that's it. That's the half-life. If you leave DNA sitting around for 500 years, half of it will have decayed. Another 500 years, another half will have decayed. So how much DNA do you think is going to be left in the body of a mosquito that's 65 million years old? Or even a lot older, like if you want to clone a brachiosaur or a stegosaurus, you need a mosquito that's well over 100 million years old. How much DNA do you think is actually going to still be in that mosquito that's going to be viable and usable? The answer is none. There's not going to be anything. There's going to be itty bitty fragments, and that's the best you're going to be able to do. So that's the fundamental problem here. But could you potentially still create these dinosaurs using the DNA of living animals through genetic engineering? And the answer is still probably no, but it seems a lot more plausible than 65 million year old DNA. So the theory posits that what John Hammond did was genetically create these animals from scratch, so to speak. He used DNA from other animals. And that he's lying about this whole mosquito thing. And I actually find this theory plausible because the dinosaurs don't look right. As recent science has shown, as recent paleontology has shown, the Tyrannosaurus and the raptors should have feathers. And they don't. So to me that suggests that they were engineering these animals based off of what they knew about dinosaurs in 1993 when the movie takes place. If they were actually cloning dinosaurs from actual DNA, the first T-Rex should have hatched out of its egg and should have had feathers all over it, and they should have gone, whoa, we had no idea. But instead you see these animals portrayed in the classical way with scales instead of feathers. Obviously, the filmmakers didn't know either, so that's why they made them look the way that they did. But retroactively, you can explain the discrepancy if Hammond was just building these animals from scratch and not using actual dinosaur DNA. So where does Alan Grant fit into all of this? Well, my idea is that Hammond has been trying to make these dinosaurs for quite a while. You would have to be. The technology he's using was way beyond what was possible in 1993 and is probably still impossible today. But for the sake of suspending disbelief, which I know is funny considering that this whole theory is based off of the idea that you're not going to suspend disbelief about the DNA thing. But for the idea of suspending disbelief, you got to assume he's been working on this a while. And the way I see it is he's been working on this for at least a decade or two. And early in the process, he was trying to use reptilian DNA to try and engineer these dinosaurs. Because the common wisdom at the time, of course, was that dinosaurs were reptiles, so of course you're going to use reptilian DNA. So lizards, crocodiles, snakes, maybe even turtles. He mentions using amphibian DNA, and I think that's probably plausible. But I can see him trying to use this reptilian DNA and just not getting very far, because morphologically speaking, these animals, these reptiles, are very different than dinosaurs. But then, around, say, 1987, 1988, he comes across a book by paleontologist Alan Grant. And this book posits that that birds are the descendants of dinosaurs. So they are very closely genetically related. So he goes to his scientists, he goes to Dr. Wu, and he says, hey, what if, as our basic building block, instead of using this reptilian DNA that we've been trying and failing at for so long, what if we used bird DNA, like ostriches and emus? And they tried it, and their results were much, much better, because they were starting with a building block that was much more similar to the way that dinosaurs actually were than the reptiles. And if you want a little bit of evidence, as presented in the film, what kind of eggs do they use? Ostrich eggs and emu eggs. So there you go. They're using the DNA from existing living dinosaurs, birds, and they're using that as the foundational building block of their genetically engineered dinosaurs. So that's my take on it, is that Alan Grant accidentally, without his knowledge, contributed to the creation of these animals who were created from scratch by Hammond and his team of scientists. And that's one of the reasons why Hammond wanted to bring Grant to the park, is he wanted to see if he could fool the expert into thinking what he was seeing was actual dinosaurs, when in fact he was creating things from scratch. Because if he could fool the expert, then he could definitely fool the general public, who would be the paying customers at this park. And he succeeded, because obviously Grant was completely convinced that what he was seeing was actual dinosaurs.
It's a dinosaur.
So that is my take on that theory. Let me know in the comments if you think that's plausible, or if you have your own thoughts. And thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.